Everyone's on a board. That's the topic of In the Boardroom today with Lucy Marcus. Welcome, Lucy. This is about humanizing the role of board members because we all are in some way sitting on some type of board. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny, when we think about boards, and I write about boards and so on, a lot of the response I get is, that's really interesting, but it has nothing to do with me. Yeah. That's actually not right.
Well, everyone thinks it's big buildings like that behind you at JP Morgan. It's not,
exactly.
It's not those boards.
Exactly. We automatically think big companies, wise men sitting around a table, usually men, making big decisions and going forth. But actually, we all sit on boards. So boards take all kinds of forms. It's essentially just a bunch of people sitting around a table making decisions about other people's welfare as well. We sit on parent-teacher associations. We sit on co-op boards of apartment buildings.
Well, our cameraman today, by the way, Eurus, is on his neighborhood association board.
Right. Oh, exactly. So, but that's a board.
So what are we talking about? Give me an example here.
Well, I was reading the New York Times recently, and there were several articles about New York City co-op boards. So co-op boards that are made up of people who live in the building, own apartments in the building, and are taking decisions on behalf of the people who live in the building that impact actually all the people living in the building. Yeah. And sometimes there's not transparency. We talk about best practice and about transparency, but they will blackball somebody from buying an apartment in the building, but not give explanations as to why. Or they will decide that the apartment building, according to this article, should be priced a certain way, and if it's being sold for something less than that, that they have the right to stop that sale.
So do you think these people, the people who had these co-op boards, have the adequate skills to sit on the boards of major companies?
One doesn't correlate with the other. Really what we're talking about here is there are principles of good corporate governance: transparency, capabilities, abilities that you bring to the table, and also your role as representing the stakeholder. And that actually translates into co-op boards, parent-teacher boards. All the decisions that you're taking need to be something that you can explain, that you can share. And so the standards that we hold, corporate governance standards that we hold for big corporates, should be the same sort of corporate governance standards that we hold for any board that we sit on.
I talked about responsibility of being this board member, reading the information, being as transparent as possible, being as communicative as possible, all these things that we expect of board members of these big companies.
Yeah, and we need to do the same. When you're serving on a board and you agree to serve on a board of a nonprofit, which is a much larger topic, which we'll cover another day, but essentially there is an ethic to that. Read your papers, participate fully, and remember, you're not there just for yourself, your needs, your wants, your desires, but also you represent a larger constituency of people who are invested in it, who are receiving services from it, who are in some way involved with it. So you are actually representing something larger, and there is an ethic to that, a selflessness to it as well, that you need to keep.
Do you think, just to finish up, do you think it also makes us appreciate how difficult a role like that is? Or maybe on the other side of the coin, it makes us think, actually, this is pretty easy.
I think it does make us appreciate both. There are aspects to it that are difficult, and that if we take seriously that role, then it does take time. It's not just you can't just phone it in. On the other hand, we also realize that since all of us can do it, we sit around a table, we deliberate about things, and realize that actually that's the same sort of thing that boards do all over the world, in every culture, in every context.
Okay, Lucy, great to have you back. That was In the Boardroom with Lucy Marcus. I'm Axel Threlfall.